Now you know, you have read a lot, I'm sure, that everything starts with a thought. You've read that in so many books, in speeches, etc., that everything starts from with a thought. Now you also know, even if you're not science people, that the brain is connected to all parts of the body by a system of nerves. Now the thought that arises in the brain travels from the arm through the fingers and is reflected onto the paper in the form of handwriting, various strokes in handwriting. Now in the Vietnam War, when the wounded soldiers had lost the use of their arms and were forced to hold the pen in their mouths to write, when that writing was compared to their original handwriting, it was found to be uncannily similar. And therefore it was realized that fingers, toes, mouth, these are all vehicles. What is really reflected on the paper are your thoughts, whatever vehicle you might use. Therefore, handwriting is really mind writing or brain writing. Now, everybody has different personality traits. Some may have low self-confidence. Some may have temper. Some may have secretiveness. Some may have dishonesty. Now, all those people with one particular personality trait will show a similar neurological brain pattern. Now, what does this mean? This has been discovered when these handwriting specimens were documented. Everybody with the same personality trait will demonstrate the same neurological brain pattern. That means that when a person with low self-confidence, for example, writes, he will show there are very minute neuromuscular movements while he is writing in a particular way, which are the same for all people with low self-confidence. And these very, very small micromuscular movements are so small that they have to be graphically frozen before you can see them or study them. They are not visible to the naked eye. The same is the case with face reading. You know, there are minute changes in expression, not the broad ones, not the smile or frown, etc., but very, very minute changes, nuances in expressions. They also are due to those neuromuscular movements, which also can be frozen when people do face reading. But now we are going to study handwriting. So, now why are two people's handwriting different? No two people have the same handwriting. Now why is this? We are also, human beings are also like computers. And you know that computers have got programmable software. We also have programmable software, and that is our subconscious. Now our subconscious can be programmed in any way you like. We can be programmed to say 2 plus 2 is 6. You are a vegetarian, non-vegetarian, programmable. Stealing, okay, not okay, programmable. So, since no two people are programmed in the same way, no two people's handwriting is similar. Now you know, in a computer, programming is done by a series of zeros and ones. Zero is off and 1 is on. Similarly, our subconscious is also programmed by a series of zeros and ones. Now in graphology, by the time the child becomes 14 years old, he is considered an adult. In graphology, you reach the age of 14, you are programmed, you are an adult. Now the first 7 years of a child's life are programmed by the mother. Now by mother I mean mother figure. If there is no mother, whoever has brought up and nurtured the child, grandmother, nanny, whoever. The first 7 years are programmed by the mother, and you know a mother's role is caring, nurturing, soft. Therefore, the first 7 years are programmed by a series of zeros. Go to sleep, eat, passive role. After the age of 7, the father takes over. And the father's role is action and activity. Do this, do that, be this, be that. Therefore, the next 7 years are programmed by a series of ones. Now, no two people have the same number of zeros and the same number of ones. Some people have more zeros, some people have more ones. Now, in a girl, if there are more ones, then that girl would show a personality trait which you would call as a tomboy. And in a boy, if there are more number of zeros, you would call him probably a sissy. So, no two people have the same number of zeros and ones, and therefore no handwriting is the same and nobody's personality is the same. There are dominant, you can make out from a person's handwriting whether this is a more masculine type of person or has a more feminine trait because of the variable zeros and ones. Now I told you we are all programmed differently. And everything starts with a thought. The cascade is like this. Now supposing you take the example of a fat man. He knows he's fat, everybody is laughing at him, making fun of him. So he thinks I must do something about it. That's the thought. Then he asks a friend, do you know any gym? So those become the words. Now having found the gym, he goes to the gym. And that becomes action. Repeated action becomes a habit. He starts going to the gym regularly, that becomes his habit, and ultimately that forms part of his character. Similarly, we have got millions and millions of thoughts which have been converted through force of habit into action, and they all contribute to our character. Now let's briefly have a look at the history of graphology. Graphology is not a new science. It is a very, very old science. As long ago as 3,000 years, the Roman Emperor Nero had said that he would never trust anyone whose handwriting showed him to be treacherous. So even as long ago as that, there was the awareness that there is some connection between the way you think, the way you are, and your handwriting. Now, there was a Greek philosopher who said that spoken words are the symbols of mental experience, and written words are the symbols of spoken words. So there is an interconnection between all these things, thoughts and words and handwriting, etc. There was a Greek philosopher called Camillo Baldi in 1622 who first wrote the book on graphology. 1622. No doubt it must have been in its infancy, but he wrote the first book on graphology. And another Greek philosopher called Michon, who first, during that time, used the word graphology. So you can imagine what an old science it is. There was a graphology society in Paris, which was very active until the Second World War, when it had to be disbanded. Now Michon, the Greek philosopher Michon, stated that when you get a handwriting sample before you, you must never pounce on the letters immediately. You must first of all study it from a distance. See what it looks like to you. What is your first impression from a distance? Line spacing, word spacing, letter spacing, margins, all that, slant, etc. All that is important. Only after you But as you move a little further, you get the right perspective and you see the whole picture. Like a face, for example. We all have two eyes, one nose, one mouth. But how these are put together makes the entire face. Therefore, Michon suggested you first will examine a sample from a distance and then from close.